Hi guys, this is FPL and welcome to yet another video. Today we have the player prices released for all the 20 clubs, basically one player per club, and there were definitely some talking points as we got the most expensive player in the game's history in the form of Haaland at 15 million. We also got a few budget enablers. So yeah, let's dive in and take a look, starting with the promoted sides first. It is Harun Bellis from Southampton, who is nicely priced at 4 million. He was sort of a regular starter last season for Southampton. Like he had around 40 starts, and he basically plays as a center back, right-sided center back. He also had 2 goals and 3 assists last season in the championship. So yeah, quite decent value at 4 million. Like he could be a really good starting budget enabler for us, like considering the prices for the premium assets that we are gonna get, like 4 million is gonna be a crucial value. Next up, we have another promoted team player, Leif Davis. Like he basically plays as a left back come left winger for Ipswich. Like he was basically the most threatening player from be it set pieces, be it crosses, and he was also the leading assists maker in the championship last season out with a season high of 18 assists and also scored 2 goals as well. Like Ipswich used their wide target men quite sensibly, and which does benefit Leif Davis' crossing abilities a lot. He is also not afraid to make an in behind runs with his pace from the left hand side. Like also, yeah, it is like acceptable that the Premier League and the Championship uh, are level apart in terms of defending and all that sort. But he could be. I really feel he could be this season's Alfie Doughty at just 4.5 million. He also could be a decent bench option, like first or second bench option. He could be really good at that. Next up, of course, we have the man, the myth, the robot, Erling Haaland at 15 million. Like when I first saw the price, like I was like, what the hell? Like, how are we gonna be able to afford other players with Haaland in the team? Like 15 million, I feel is a bit cheap, a bit pricier, but it is what it is. Like honestly, like if we are to play him, like he's definitely gonna be our captain. Like we can't keep a non-captain at 15 million just winning our team structure and blah blah blah. So basically, we need to captaining every game to justify his price point. There's no other way to it. What I feel. So with Palmer, Saka, and Foden like expected to be in the higher range of the price points, so it would be again more difficult to build a team with Haaland in it. So definitely, FPL have done a great job in making him 15 million, which will definitely cause a debate among managers. So it would be interesting to see what's his ownership is at come the start of game week 1. Although De Bruyne will be available this time, like unlike last time out, like De Bruyne was injured for most parts of the season, so the availability of De Bruyne will be a boost for Haaland. So yeah, so basically he's gonna be the biggest talking point. Next up, we have Jarrod Bowen. Like for Bowen, like we saw towards the back end of last season, like Bowen was mostly playing from his usual right wing position, like either Ings or mostly it was Antonio who started as a striker, which was not the case during the first half of the season, where Bowen simply played as the out and out striker basically. That's where his most of his attacking returns came. Like he was crazy consistent during a period of fixture runs. So we are likely to see him on the right again. So yeah, that could diminish his FPL potential a bit, but nonetheless, at 7.5, he could be a decent shout like for easier fixture runs. Um, yeah, and next up. We have the Portuguese Magnifico Bruno Fernandes, or popularly known as Bruno Fernandes. Uh, like Manchester United last time out were underwhelming to say the least. Like their attackers didn't produce that output in terms of FPL wise, like to justify their price points. For example, Bruno and Rashford, like they couldn't really justify their 8.5 million price point. So United have recently signed Zirkzee, so it would be interesting to see how they line up come game week one, for which I think the preseason games will be really key to monitor their assets. And about Bruno, like he has been the top creators in the Premier League for quite some seasons now, and 8.5 feels a little bit pricey to me, like given United's underwhelming performance last season out. So I think, but his price point is an interesting one. Like it is sort of a gap between the higher and lower price the mids basically. So could serve as a transition between the price brackets basically. Personally, like I feel United will do a lot better this season. So I'm having high hopes from Bruno basically. So yeah, that's Bruno Fernandes. And next up is Anthony Gordon. Like his price point of 7.5 million I feel is a bit tricky one. Like if Wilson stays fit and Isak also stays fit, like we could see some games where Isak plays on the left. Nonetheless, like I feel Gordon is the most nailed attacker apart from let's say Isak maybe, but I feel Gordon is the most nailed. So minutes shouldn't be an issue for him, but uh, yeah, a lot would depend on how Isak is priced. Like if Isak is priced around 8 million, then I think everyone will prefer Isak. So yeah, Newcastle's fixtures are also quite good from the start, and definitely Gordon could be an option at 7.5, especially during home games. He was just tremendous last season. So definitely, yeah, someone to monitor. Next up, we have Kai Havertz, and like he was perhaps the most consistent FPL returner towards the back end of last season. Like the false nine role really suited him, and he just simply excelled there. Although Jesus' fitness was in question in most of last season, so there could be some minute sharing, but I think Havertz is first choice personally. So yeah, again, the preseason will be key to monitor their assets. And 8 million for an Arsenal attacker is crazy good value. Like he could just simply explode. Uh, yeah. Next up is Hudson Odoi. Like given the high prices for premiums, like he could be a decent enabler at just 5.5. But we would like opt for a 4.5 instead, I guess, in the midfield. So to be honest, like I don't see buying him unless like there is a serious good from we see a serious good form from him, or like a series of good fixtures for Forest. Uh, Next up is Ban Leno. He started the last season, I remember, like quite well. Like he was also quite popular on wildcards. Like at some point, I think he was the highest scoring keeper, if I'm not wrong. Like this season, like unless we see the pricing of other goalkeepers, like it would be hard to make a call on him at 5 million. And Fulham's fixtures from a defense standpoint aren't that attractive at the start as well. So yeah, he's a wait and watch for me. Solimart, like he was quite an unlucky player last season. Like he's still struggling with a knee injury from the last season. I think he had an operation as well. I had an operation too, and like he was, his season really didn't begin. Like we saw him for just 2 or 3 matches last season, if I am correct, And at 6.5, I think we'll have better options. Like, for example, we could have Mitoma at 6.5, like who is less injury prone, I can say. So definitely, I feel Solimarch is still far from being an option, I believe, but you never know. Like his expected return date is around September or October, I guess. So for the foreseeable future, he's not an option. And next up, we have the Jean-Philippe Mateta. Like he was simply unplayable during the last few games of the last season. Like Glasner really clicked and Palace had an impressive run towards the end. Like as we know, the holy trinity of Eze, Olise, and Mateta really flourished FPL wise. However, like currently Olise is a banned player, so that could be a dent in Crystal Palace attack this season, which forces me to think like if Mateta is slightly overpriced by zero point 0.5 million, but nonetheless, like I believe I really like Glasner and his tactics, so Palace could do really well, and he could be an option definitely. Next up is Pedro Neto. Like we know like what an injury-free Pedro Neto could do on his day. At the beginning of last season, he was simply racking up assists like a daily routine. Like he was leading the charts for assists, if I'm not wrong. Unfortunately, he got injured and missed majority of games. And at 6.5, I feel he's definitely fast choice, and at 6.5, he could offer definitely good value if he can stay fit. Next up, we have Christopher Nkunku. Like this might prove to be the biggest underpriced asset in the game. Like at 6.5 for a Chelsea mid, like that is just crazy. Like if he can get regular minutes, like he could be a fantasy gold, and that too even classified as a midfielder. Preseason will be again key to monitor how Chelsea set up for the games, and he could really prove to be a gift considering other huge priced premium assets that we may also consider. Next up, we have Ricardo Pereira. Like as we know from his days where he used to play as a winger, being classified as a defender in FPL. Like last season, he got plenty of starts as expected, and his attacking output reads 3 goals and 3 assists in the championship. So yeah, not quite uh, good, but not that bad as well. And 4.5 for a promoted side defender is always good value. Like on top of that, Leicester are also a Premier League proven side. So yeah, he could be an option. Jordan Pickford, like we know him from his days, like where he just used to rack up those double-digit hauls whenever Everton kept clean sheets. Like Everton are generally solid defensively, and I don't think uh, his starting fixtures are that bad. Like it's sort of mixed, so we, he could be an option at 5.0, but it's a tricky price point yet again if unless we see other goalkeepers prices. So it's a hard call to make on him, but he was the top scoring keeper last time, so definitely a good option. Richarlison, like he is an interesting um, price point and also a player as well. Like he basically could share minutes with Werner this season. So unless he gets the nailed minutes, that we can consider him as an option basically. So feels like there's a lot of forward options this time. So definitely it will be good to monitor him, but I don't think he would be under immediate considerations for game week 1. Next, we have the Egyptian king Salah. I feel like 12.5 is the perfect price point for him. Like it couldn't have been better. Like he had an underwhelming season by high standards, but under Arne Slot, like he would be raring to go for the new season. And being 2.5 million cheaper than Haaland, and considering Liverpool's juicy run of fixtures at the start, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the most popular asset come game week 1 deadline. Antoine Semenyo, like he has been classified as a midfielder this time, and rightly so. 5.5 again is good value and price point as a bench fodder and or even as a starter in easier games. But I feel like Solanke is still the talisman for Bournemouth, and I would still prefer 4.5 mids over Semenyo as bench fodder. Ivan Tony, 7.5 for Ivan Tony could be crazy good value if he ends up staying at Brentford. Like he's the perfect penalty taker and talisman for them. So and with Mbeumo fit, we can expect Tony to do FPL wise, as evident from previous seasons. So yes, that he's another forward option with Havertz and Richarlison being classified as forwards. That increases the forward pool to a lot. Definitely someone to consider during easier fixture runs. And last one I believe is Oli Watkins. Like he was the top FPL scoring forward from last season, like above Haaland, and 9 million is quite good for him. Like Douglas Luiz also has left for Juventus, so there's a decent and good chance that he could be on pens as well. Although I believe his record from penalties is not that good, but he could be an option. Like McGinn could also take them, but I think Watkins, being the striker, will most probably take them. Like he tends to do well versus the lower sides, like the low blocks, but also is quite good on counters versus the top teams as well. And his fixtures to begin with have good indeed, and he's definitely under my consideration to start. I think, yeah, that was I think basically that for today's prices. We are expecting some big names tomorrow in the likes of Saka, Palmer, and Foden to be revealed soon, and their price points will actually decide or maybe our drafts basically. Like I expect I expect them to be in the range of 9.5 to 10 million. I think 9.5 is most likely, I believe, and that would be interesting to see. And also, as notified by Premier League, we'll continue to see the price reveals till Tuesday. So I think either Tuesday or Wednesday the game could go live. So yeah, interesting times ahead, and can't wait for FL to be back. Yeah, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching.